Hello, this is Christian. Welcome to episode 3 of this video series. In this part of the video, we're going to implement the login feature. We'll do the registration much later because it's going to take a little bit more effort for that one. Okay, so we created our session to allow users to view certain areas on our site when they're not logged in. They only see this view here. They're not able to edit and so on. When you are logged and sign into the Guestbook, you can now view and also do edit and deletions. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and create a real implementation for the login using a user and a password. So first things first, we're going to create a database table. So go to MySQL, load PHP and in here in the Guestbook database, we're gonna create a new table. We'll call this one here called users, and the first field will be an ID field. This is going to be our primary key, so make that auto increment. The next field is going to be the username, and it's a varchar. We'll limit to 25 characters. The next one here is the email. I'm going to use that email for this example. We'll put 50 here, I guess. And the last one here is just the password. Okay, so this one, instead of using 5 or 10 characters, I'm going to put 255. And the reason is because later on when we do the registration, we're going to hash the password. When you hash it, then you're going to have a lot of characters, up to about 128 characters or more, depending on the hashing algorithm. So we're going to put 255 for now, just to be safe. All right, so go ahead and create and save that. And just so we can test our login, I'm going to go and insert my login in there. Okay, I'll put here just my name as a username. My email will be just, I'm just testing it, c@her.com. It's not real. And then the password, for now, just put abc123. Okay, and then go ahead and go. All right, so we have our first user in here. I'm going to use this to log in. Okay, so now let's go to PHP Storm and implement our login feature. So this is what I have earlier. Now we're gonna turn this off for now because we're not gonna do this anymore. We're gonna add a form in here, and I'll grab that from the I think the registration page or the sign up page. Yeah, sign up page. I'll just copy everything here and we'll modify this and put it right in here. Okay, this part up here, we can keep this actually. Yeah, we can keep this part. This part here will be removed, so we don't need that anymore for now. Okay, and then we'll just keep this part here. All right, so the message will be not here anymore. Message will be we use that for like error messages, like if they can't. When they signed in, then we'll put a message here. So we'll change this as well. We're not inserting any data. So actually this whole part will be replaced for now. Let's go down here first. So the message, instead of this way, I'm going to put here for the error messages. Okay, and so I'll change this to maybe a P tag for the error messages. And I don't want to use this one. Just put what should we call this one here? Maybe error or messages. Let's put yeah, message is fine. But I want to wrap it with a div, and I'll call it a class called error messages. I guess it's possible that later on, if you want to modify this, you can have more than one messages. So we'll put a star here, and these messages will be, again, just put messages for plural, just in case. It just makes more sense that way. And then here will be, so usually you put like an array, and let's just do an array here. Yeah, an array, and we'll put array here. So we add that messages to the array of messages. Okay, And then down here, if we have more messages, we will actually output this out to the page. So here we'll do something like this. And I'm doing something kind of out of order here, but just want to show you how this will be done. So here we'll put for each of the messages here, messages as message, and then we're going to print this out. So this will go up in here, right? We're going to echo this out. Echo this out. So we echo all the messages here. There could be just one, there could be many. Okay, so put that right in here. Okay, so that takes care of our messages. So here will be not show guest form, but show login form. And we will create that login form in here. And so let's go to the, let's open our functions file. We also need to open the DB file. Here we're going to create a new constant to define our users table. So I put users here, and this would be the users. Okay, so we're not going to do a new connection. It's the same connection to the same database, right? If you change databases, then yeah, you want to pass in a DB to replace this DB here. But for us, this is good. We just changed the table here, which is why down here, when you load these functions, you can pass the table to that particular function. Okay, so that means somewhere down here, we're going to create a function to verify the password in users. Okay, so here you can do something like, we'll do a function called verify password. And what do we need? Well, we need something like a handle, similar to what we have out there. We also need a username to get the username from the table. And we need the actual password. And we need the name of the table. So we can verify that from the table, fetch that. And in the query, you can do something like query, we'll set the query is equal to select. You can put a star, but since we only want a password, you can just put password here from the table where the username is equal to the username we pass to it. Okay, so we got that, and then we're going to get the result just like above. We're going to load the make query, pass in the handle and the query. Okay, now when we get the data back, whether it's successful or not, we don't know. So we need to verify that, right? So we can check the number of rows it returns. If it's successful, then it should return 1 row. If it's not, you get 0, right? So we can say something like if the MySQLi num rows of the result, if that is greater than 0, then we know that we found a match. Okay, we found a match for this user, right? We haven't tested the password yet. We found a match for the user, and then now we can go ahead and then get the record, get the password out of that, and we'll do the comparison. And then here, we can then say row is equal to, we're gonna fetch this, right? MySQLi fetch array or row, it doesn't matter. In this case, we'll just use array to be consistent, the result. And now our row contains one element called the password. And then we can check the password. So if the password that we have from the login form equals to the row of this password, if that is true, then we're going to return true to wherever it's being called. Otherwise, it must be false. Whether it exists or not, or the password matches or not, we don't really care. All we know it just is false. So we don't want to put it. You don't want to put it here. Okay? If you put it here, if you do that, then only this part gets executed. What if it's like this is? What if we get a 0? What do we return? So you do another else part here, right? So you have to put another else here, and then return again false. So a lot of redundancy here. Okay, so what you can do is that, okay, when this is false, we do the else part. when this is false, we do the else part and return the same thing. So therefore, we just do the following. We put that as the default return down here, and then we don't care about the else clause. Okay, so you can see that because once we return, the function ends at that point. Okay, so we return the false when none of the above is true. Okay, so we save that. Now we can go into the logins, and so we show the form, and then when we click to submit the form, we're going to go up to the page up here. We validate the submit, and then we do not the insert, but we're going to verify that, right? You're going to verify that a user password. So first, before we even do that, let's get the username from the post. Username. And I'm going to trim it, okay? We'll trim just any white space. So put trim here like that. And I'll duplicate that. This is the password. I'll also trim that too. Okay. So now we can then, well, we want to check to make sure that, I'm not going to do too much validation, but I do want to validate, make sure the strings are not empty. Okay, so I want to do something like if the string length of username is greater than 0 and string length, I mistyped there, of the password is also greater than 0, then go ahead and run the following. Otherwise, one of those is empty, so we can just ignore the rest. So run this whole try block, right? And then we will put the else part down here, or in the block down there. That goes over here, and this goes over here. Okay, and then so now we can try this. So this time we're gonna say, let's see, what I'm thinking, like, should we try? I'm gonna do a little bit different. Okay, I'm gonna put the try outside here, wrap the whole thing with a try, and I'll catch it down here. Okay, and this is the if block inside. So I'm going to pass in the errors to that catch. I'll catch the error here. So I'm going to compare that, and then let me format this really. All right, and so we need to verify the password. And so I'm going to say I have a variable called maybe like valid is valid password. It's assigned to verify password. Pass in the connection, the username, password, and a table. We call it table users. Okay, we pass that to the function. It returns a true or false, right? If it's true, that means it's successful. If it's false, it's not. So here, we're going to check that validate password. Is valid password. If it's true, then we can go ahead and, I'm not going to put the message here. We will just redirect the user, really, right? So we don't use that either. I'm going to do a session, a segment session of the user to equal this user. So now my session has been set, and then I can redirect the user to the home page. Okay, so it ends there. Then it goes to the login page, and we are logged in. So here you say login successful. Okay, else there must be an error. Either the password fails, or there's no such name, such username, or the password didn't match. We don't really know. We didn't verify that. And you don't want to be very specific here either. You don't want to say oh, your username is incorrect or your password is incorrect, because that just gives away your information to hackers. So they know that, oh, okay, so the username is correct. I just have an issue with the password, or vice versa. So you want to be kind of not too specific here. So something like, yeah, just say something went wrong, unable to sign in. Try again or something. Maybe try again. Okay. So we just put that message there to the messages, and then we're done. Right? And then it goes down here to the form. It shows the form again. So in this case, we don't really need to show this again. We can, because when show form, when the user is not signed in, you want to show the form. If the user is already signed in, then maybe we'll put a message here. Say something like, you're already signed in. Something like that, right? And of course, I hard coded here, you would probably want to put a variable up there as well. But we check the show form up here. Initially, we put true, right? So we can say, you can do something like, if is set session of user. If that is true, then the show form should be set to true. Otherwise, show form is false. Okay, so I mean the other way around, right? If it's set, then we say false. Otherwise, it's true. And so now, I think let's give it a run and see what happens. Okay, here we go. Okay, no errors. So far, so good. I log in. And, oh, function login. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. Let's fix that first. A little bit too excited ahead of my time. Okay, so the function here, the login. I'm going to use a similar function as the sign in here. So show guestbook form. I can copy this. Yeah, we'll use the same form and put it at the very bottom here. We'll say login form. Okay, so this will be show login form. I'll put here login. Let's replace this. The this will be the login control. Although they're kind of same, but I should have. And then we want to update our CSS as well. Before I forget, let's go and update our CSS and then log in. It should be up here somewhere, right? It's kind of hard to see. The guestbook form. Here you go. So we copy that here, and then this will be the same. So I'm just going to duplicate that and then replace this with the login. The input also will be the same. So again, I'll put here login controls and input. I don't have text area. I do have buttons. So I'm going to duplicate this and replace the guestbook controls with the login controls. And same thing down here, the hover. So duplicate that, remove that, and I think we're good here. Okay, so let's save that before we forget. Now we're back in the function here. So we need the username. This will be username. I'm going to copy this and paste. Email's good. Well, actually, I don't need email. This will be a password. To log in, we don't need an email. And this part here, we don't really need it. Yeah, and you can change the value to something like login. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's go back to the page and refresh our page. So here we go. We go to the login, and here's our Guestbook. It's kind of ugly. Yeah, we need to fix that. Well, I think just refresh it. I refreshed it so it looks fine. It was just a caching issue. Okay, so this is good. The message here will not say login. Somehow it's not there. But you can see if I try to log in, it didn't work. And so at least we got the form designed. Now let's go back in here. So when we submit, we are going to here I'll put required. So they cannot be empty. Okay, so that's good. Now in my login form up here, and so I'm gonna do a password here. Down here in my H1, I need to put H1 here. Login. Okay, and then okay, and so we log in. We do a verification here. All right, so let's try one more time. So here is the message here. I'm going to do a login is required. I put T and T here. It should be a password field. I log in, and you see again error. It says array string conversion line 45 in the login. Okay, so let's see what that is. Line 45. So over here, yeah, it should be message. So there was an error actually, right? Okay, let's try one more time. Let's go back to login, and if I put T login, you see that has a message here. Somehow the message did not come through. The error message didn't come through. It should show something. But it does work. And if well, let's see if I put my name. So Christian, it was ABC123, right? And we log in, you can see that we are successfully logged in, and my welcome message shows my name here. I could probably, format that to show an uppercase. And now I'm able to see this information here, perform my task as soon as I'm signed in. When I do a signing guestbook, I should be able to perform all of that. So I went log out, I'm back to what I was before, and so here we go again. So just the error message we need to show in here, okay, and hide the password. Okay, so let's go back and fix that. So the error message when we log in, and if it fails. So when we have this message here, right, when they're empty, we did not throw a message. So here we also want to throw a message. Else, or we just set the message here, right? Exception. You can say username, password. Username, password. I just put a same message, it's fine. We throw that message when these are false. If I put white spaces, that's gonna throw that message, same message. And when I go through here, if it's valid, then I got that. If it's not valid, I'm gonna throw the message to the messages array. And yeah, so the form, I don't really need the form here. Yeah, this part, actually I don't need it, because when you're logged in, you're not going to see the login form anymore. Okay, so meaning that this part, I don't actually need it. I don't need this. We don't need to show that. All right, let's try one more time. Log in. If I log in here, it's required to put white space. Okay. Somehow the error messages do not come through. I wonder why. Let's see. For some reason. Oh, I have that as a comment. Okay. Maybe I did something bad in my code here. Echo? Yeah, okay, I don't need that. Sorry, didn't catch that. Tricky. Okay, so here we go. It should output the actual message. And let's try again. Log in, space, space. There we go. You got the message there. And if I do something doesn't match, as you can see, something went wrong. If I put my actual password and name, and I'm successfully logged in. Okay, so one thing you see here is kind of awkward is this is no longer centered. And I think this is because of this welcome message here. Okay, so we're going to fix that really quick. And all we have to do is basically clear the float here because it is not centered. It's not nice. And also when we sign in, remember we got the error. Change that to password type, and it should be red. So I want to change that to a red color. Okay, so back here. First, we need to, so when we have the message show up, we want to change the main, add a CSS to the main, put on here. Yeah, that's fine. So the main tag, I'm going to clear this. Okay, so I can say clear both for the main. Yep, so that's that. And also, maybe on the right side, I'm going to put a margin right, maybe like a 50px, a little bit too far to the right. And then my error messages. Okay, so here I put error messages. I want that to be a color of red, and maybe I want to be italicized. Italicize. Okay, and hopefully that should do it. Let's see again. Here we go. Log in. Yeah, it's much nicer. Have some spaces here, and I see it's center again. Okay, so if I do again, so it's red, right? And then just one more thing, we need to change the form to say password here. Type will be password. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. So put T and space, here we go. And then we have my name and the password ABC12123. And there we are. We logged in and we are good to go.